In September 2018, I was just off the stage from a comedy gig I would organize in Cannes when a lady came up to me and said, "Thank you. I didn't plan on coming today, but I saw the poster and just decided to walk in. You see, I have cancer. I have undergone chemo for the last year and it's not getting any better. I now have another round to do, but for the first time in a year, today I laughed. Thank you so very much." It was a very emotional and powerful moment. Moments like this make me realize just how humor can be a powerful tool. And is the reason I go back on stage again and again, and why I have dedicated my business and my life to humor. What I do is quite unusual. I'm a humor in leadership evangelist. I seek to convert leaders to the power of humor. My job is at the convergence point of academia, business, and entertainment. I research the benefits of humor in leadership. I train, coach, and advise people and organizations to apply this principle to improve their business performance. And as a stand-up comedian, I make people laugh. Through my work, I've come to realize three things. Firstly, from my personal experience and as a comedian, I now see humor as a superpower, and as such, it can be used to build up or tear down. Secondly, there are many disparities in how humor can be understood, especially between genders and cultures, nationalities. Finally, and most importantly, unlike what is usually assumed, just like languages, there are multiple types of humor we should be aware of, and this allows us to adapt our sense of humor to people and situations. So let me disentangle the structures of humor for you. First, humor is a superpower. The American poet, singer, memorist, and civil rights activist Maya Angelou said, "I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you make them feel." A simple joke can be a powerful act of vulnerability and a very effective way to create an authentic connection with someone. Humor is a real superpower, and as Spider-Man's uncle said, with great power comes great responsibility. With humor, you have the power to make people feel good around you or to undermine them with a simple joke. And you think, "Oh, it's only a joke." No, it's not. It's much more than that. Through a joke, you can convey a strong message with a positive or a negative intention. You can be sexist, racist, discriminatory, incriminatory with a joke. But because it is said with humor, you are depriving the other person of their power to be angry, to respond. You have the power to include or to exclude. For a piece of research, I interviewed a senior executive from a UK bank who told me a story. The bank had organized a maternity leave party for the head of risk. In a room full of people, two senior managers said out loud, "She should have just used a condom." The woman targeted was offended and left, upset. If it had been me, I would have responded, "For sure, your mother should have done the same." That would not have happened to me today, but this could have happened to me 20 years ago. I started my career as a young journalist in a daily newspaper in the south of France. Being the youngest and the only girl in the team, I was the constant target of mockery and what we would call today inappropriate jokes. It was a time where the internet didn't exist, smoking in an office was allowed, and sexism and discrimination were perfectly accepted. One day, as I was frantically typing on my keyboard, one of my colleagues got into the newsroom and asked me if I wanted to see his new tattoo. I wanted to be friendly and polite, so I said, "Why not?" That's when he unbuttoned his jeans and showed me his pubic hair, laughing. He said, "Look, it's a lion. Here is the mane." People were laughing around me. I didn't know what to say, so I didn't say anything. It felt wrong. I felt powerless and ashamed. I knew I should have spoken up, asserted myself, and regained respect, but I didn't because it was only a joke. Maybe at least once in your life you have also felt the same. I have trained many men and women who have felt the same. They have walked out on an office bender thinking, damn, I should have said something, but they didn't. They have carried their shame for years until they shared the stories with me. That's when I realized humor is a superpower, and as such, it can be used to build up or tear down. Some of you might think, but it's horrible. It's not a joke. It's harassment. But yes, it is a joke. It was a joke to him, a really bad, poorly made joke. Why? Because humor is in the reception as much as in the intention. And what was intended here was to make somebody laugh. It is not an excuse, but what is needed is to shift to a positive intention. Today, this could not happen to me. Not because we are in a different society. Trust me, similar things can and do still happen, but because I'm a different person. In my career, I left many jobs, or rather, I left many toxic environments where people use humor to secure their power and put people down. And an environment where humor was used to undermine was not what I wanted for myself, and that is not what I wish for others. Over the years, I've used humor as a defense mechanism because I made a choice to laugh along with my colleagues rather than being excluded. This leads me to my second point. Humor is gender sensitive and culture sensitive. Years of working in male-dominated industries have turned my sense of humor into an aggressive one, which helped me gain respect with my male peers, but not with the women with whom I worked. Why? Because humor has a gender, and as sure as men come from Mars and women from Venus, we don't use and understand humor the same way. So how is it that everybody wants to be liked, accepted, and be funny, but nobody takes humor seriously? How is it that people agree that humor is a powerful tool, but don't use it or use it badly? How is it that humor is something so positive, but it can be used to hurt and diminish? The reason is that nobody consciously uses their sense of humor. Humor is a language, and you can speak it fluently. This is my third point. Your sense of humor is changeable. But in order to be able to use humor as a tool, you must be aware of your own sense of humor and have a thorough understanding of how you use and receive humor. The same way you should prepare for a meeting in a foreign country in making sure everybody speaks a common language, checking what is appropriate to say and how to act, and adapt language and behavior accordingly. In the same way, humor has to be prepared. When I give a talk or perform comedy in the UK, it is a very different experience from performing in France. Humor is difficult to export as each culture has its own style of humor, and what is humorous in one country is often not humorous in another. But, for example, there are a few commonalities that bring French and English together. Both have a negative sense of humor in the sense that it is detrimental for others or us. And if I perform my routine tailored for a British audience in France, it would be a flop. Trust me, I tried. Apparently, French don't like to be the butt of the joke. And preparation starts with awareness. Awareness of how you use and receive humor, awareness of your own style of humor, and what your purpose is in using humor. Awareness of who you are as a person and as a leader. We often think there is only one type of humor, ours, and whoever isn't laughing at our jokes has no sense of humor. Science has categorized 4 types of humor, 2 negatives and 2 positives. I mentioned I have an aggressive kind of humor, which is part of the negative category, but you can also have a self-defeating type of humor, which some would say is the DNA of British people. The most positives are the self-enhancing and affiliative types of humor. To know about your own sense of humor is important, but also not sufficient. Important because your sense of humor determines who you are and says a lot about you, your personality, your background, your values. Knowing how your humor works also allows you to adapt it. Not sufficient, because what is essential is your intention. And that says a lot about the person you want to be. Your intention, your awareness, give you the keys to change your perspective on humor, strategically adapt your sense of humor to people and situations for a funnier and safer workplace. Today, diversity and inclusion are key organizational challenges. What if there would be an unexpected solution to foster inclusion and improve diversity? A solution which would not include a team building in Barbados, a new fancy tech tool, or an innovation bootcamp? A solution much simpler, free, and that we all have. I believe humor can provide a path to inclusion and diversity, but only if we all agree that humor should not be used to exclude, but to include, not to disconnect, but to reconnect, not to put people down, but to raise them up. Before I leave the stage, let me give you 5 keys to lead more inclusive teams and more humorous organizations. 1, be connected. Create a connection with your audience. While preparing your jokes, think of what you have in common. It is critical to know your audience, including their work backgrounds, basic personal information, and their affiliations. It can help minimize the risks associated with the use of humor, such as offending peers, appearing insensitive, and being socially distanced at the workplace. In today's LinkedIn and Facebook age, it's quite easy to get this information. 2, be vulnerable. Don't take yourself too seriously. Show that you can stop and have a good laugh. When leaders show their vulnerabilities, they reduce feeling of intimidation and improve their likability. This can make subordinates feel more comfortable admitting their own mistakes, expressing their concern, and challenging the leaders, all of which can enhance performance. 3, be authentic. If you are under pressure, humor is the first thing that can disappear. It is important to use humor to show that you are authentic and in control, even under pressure. If you can still use humor while under pressure, it conveys the message that you are in control not only of the situation, but of yourself. 4, be respectful. Conscious humor should be kind and intelligent in using situational awareness to bring people together and create positive energy. For example, you can look at different customer stereotypes or things that might happen within the value chain, and you can draw comedy from it. 5, be ready. Be well prepared for this uncomfortable situation that you may encounter with a funny comeback, and make meetings and presentations memorable with a poignant, jaunty joke that helps convey your message. People can also encounter inappropriate comments. If you have a ready comeback in your pocket, it is a really good way to point out something that is inappropriate without being combative. Having untangled the network of humor, I hope you now begin to see it in a different way, as communication structures that can convey messages of positivity, but also sexism, racism, and discrimination. A complex and malleable structure which differentiates across regions, cultures, and countries. A tool to disconnect, but also reconnect. Globally, as a community of curious souls, eager to engage with ideas and each other, let's work together to make sure humor is used to unite people, so that bullies who use humor to secure their power, as insignificant as it is, will not poison the culture of our organizations nor our minds. Now, all you need to do is dare to be funny and spread laughter around you. Make someone smile today. Multiply positivity and happiness and unleash a ripple effect that will have the power to change the world one laugh at a time. Thank you.